Tussen twee vergaderings. Ek het nou net die uh recording begin. So
Die monster.
Ons sê.
Opgedeer die knoppie druk. Druk die knoppie.
Right, nou kan ek nog sien ook. Right, nou vanaand kyk tonight we're looking at the oscillator. Now, oscillator. Wat sê Martie? Oh yeah, of course. There's another guy admit. Right, kan almal my skerm? Can everybody see my screen?
Kan sien ja.
Okay, cool. Excellent. It's going to be slightly better now. Right, an oscillator is a circuit that's used to generate AC signals. So you can either generate them mechanically, but if you need high frequency, it's easier to generate it with electronic circuits. Now, oscillators are widely used in transmitters and receivers in order to generate the frequency that you want to transmit at, and then to in conjunction with mixers to decode the signal that's coming in again. Now, we don't have to know exactly how each oscillator or type of oscillator circuit work. We only need to know how to identify the different types of circuits from each other and where they are best used. Now, I don't know if everybody is familiar with a block diagram, or it's also known as a flow diagram. The diagram below is a block diagram showing a typical oscillator circuit. Now, the block diagram is an overview of the basic functions of a specific device or piece of a circuit. And in this particular case, let me just scroll so you can see it as well. In this particular circuit, they've got a triangle at the top there, which represents an amplifier. Now, any amplifier in a block diagram will always be a triangle, and that's why it's not labeled. The phase shift network, which is in the square at the bottom, is a descriptive. The square ones will always have a description in, for example, DSP or amplifier, not amplifier stage, because that would be a triangle, but DSP would be one CPU, and then you also get flow diagrams that will show you the flow of the menu system, for instance, if you use an amplifier and so on. Now, the arrow shows the direction of information, but the single line does not represent a single wire. It can be a 8-bit bus or a I2C, or even a single wire or a transmission line of some sort. So it just indicates the flow of information from one side to the next. Now, with an oscillator, you would typically feed whatever you get out from the amplifier, feed back into, and that works on the same principle as you would get when you have a microphone in front of a speaker. You get that feedback, and that is actually a tuned circuit. So here they will explain basically what I've said now, the flow of the signal and the schematic and what, uh, uh, um, or the block diagram. And then if you go to the schematic, it will go into more detail and it will show you the actual connections and where the positive and negative is connected and the 8 bits of data and so on. Okay, that I've said about the arrows that shows the okay, so it's basically I'm just checking that I've told you about the information goes through the phase shift network, which we'll discuss just now, and going back into the amplifier. And this is a loop, but this is a desired loop. We want that loop because we want to generate the oscillation. So how does this circuit oscillate? Now here they go into a whole explanation of exactly what happens. So there's very little noise. There's a little bit noise in any circuit, and that gets amplified in a loop. And then the desired frequencies of that tuned circuit will get bigger and bigger. The terminal noise at the input to an amplifier will amplify, causing the larger noise signal at the output of the amplifier, some of which is bled off into output. Sorry, I just want to, it sounds like somebody wants to come in. Nah. So what happens is this oscillating circuit is oscillating, and then we bleed off some of the output to use for whatever application we want to use it for. The phase shift network does what the name implies. It changes the phase of the input signal. So the output signal of the network will have a phase that is either leads or lags the input signal. The phase relationship between the output and the input depends on the precise frequency of the input signal. Right, now here they say, you just move that to the top. Now, at most frequencies, the output of the phase shift network, which is fed back into the amplifier, will not be precisely at the same phase as the noise component that caused it in the first place. In this case, the signal that is fed back into the amplifier from the phase shift network will partially cancel out the signal that caused it. So the noise components of these frequencies will die out. However, at one specific frequency, the output of the phase shift network will exactly be in phase with the noise component and that caused it, and that so that will be reinforced. So what it basically means is that the fact that it's in phase makes it grow bigger and bigger, gets amplified, and it grows larger and larger, and then eventually that becomes the desired signal, and that oscillator will eventually get to a stable state where it's continuously oscillating at a specific frequency. And then they've got the sample of the feedback that you get through the microphone there at the bottom. Now, there was a clever guy, Barkhausen, and he set out some criteria for oscillation. Okay, then there they say we don't have to do the math behind this. They explain that we bled off some of the uh, signal, so we lose 3 dBs, and through the phase shift network, you lose another 3 dBs. Now, the phase shift network is usually a band pass filter as well. So, in some cases, when you generate a, the desired frequency or the fundamental frequency, you generate other frequencies that might not be desired. And to filter that out, you'll use a band pass filter so that you can get the frequency that you want out of your oscillator. Here they explained that your circuitry at 100 megahertz, the signal is the signal, actually the wavelength is 3 meters. So every 1 centimeter of connected wire would contribute to a phase shift of about 1.2 degrees. And that's where your PCB design gets very important, because the length of the track and the shape of the track actually makes a difference to your oscillator's frequency and how it's going to react. At microwave frequencies, even a few millimeters of a PC board track can introduce significant phase delays. And then the Barkhausen, uh, what did they say, criteria for oscillation. When the oscillator is oscillating stably, stably, that is when it constant amplitude and frequency, the following criteria must be fulfilled. The loop gain must be exactly 1 or 0 dBs. Now, they can also call this unity. So, in other words, if I, for instance, have an antenna and I say my antenna is unity, that means that the antenna has got 0 gain, either on transmit or receive. And here they say if the gain was more than 1, the amplitude of the output would increase because you'll keep on adding on to it. And if it's less, it will eventually fade away. It will be decreasing. So the first criteria for oscillation is the loop gain must be exactly 1. Mustn't gain anything and mustn't lose anything. The total phase shift around the loop must be 0 degrees or a multiple of 360 degrees. So in other words, it must be 100% in phase. This condition is necessary. Let me just get there. We had another meeting and they said that they were struggling to get into the Teams, but it doesn't seem like we have a problem. Let me just see. There's a chat there. What's happening here now? Sorry, I can't see that. So I'm going to waste time with that. I want this thing to be big. And then I want to go back there. Is my screen still visible there?
Yes, it is. Let me see the book.
Okay, so that's more or less where we are now. Okay, now these requirements, that 0 degree phase shift must be in phase, and this requirements are known as the Barkhausen criteria for oscillation. Now here they say it's entirely possible that these criteria met at more than one frequency. So in other words, you can generate unwanted frequency. So uh, they call it parasitic oscillation, and for that, you see here they say band pass filter to filter that out, and that is usually combined with your phase shift network. Now they don't explain to us exactly how the phase shift network works, but we must just know that it's there. Of course, you can go and research, but they don't ask that in the exam. Okay, parasitic that I've said, and they've combined the two circuits that you have one circuit that does both things. Right, an oscillator that uses a tuned circuit as a phase shift network will oscillate at very close to the resonant frequency of the tuned circuit. So they want to say at, but it might be slightly off. And that's why they can't just say that, because then some people will jump up and down and say it's impossible. Now, one of the type of oscillators that you get is the Colpitts oscillator, and that is the basic design. Let me just see if I can make this so that it fits the screen. Um, Now we don't need to know exactly what everything is, what's happening here. We're not going to calculate what's happening here, but in short, this transistor is switching, and that changes the current through this uh, coil or inductor, and that will then decrease and increase the voltage at this point, which will then give some output going through that capacitor there, and some of that will go back through this circuit and fed back into the transistor, and this will then create a tuned circuit, and this thing will start to oscillate at a specific frequency which is determined by these capacitors and the value of these inductors. So we need to identify this circuit. Here they will explain to you exactly how what each one of these components do, but we don't need to know that for the exam. However, when you bleed off this circuit, the circuit that the load you put onto your oscillating circuit might interfere with your oscillating frequency. So, in other words, it might change the character of this circuit, which will change the frequency. So, what you'll do then is you'll put what they call a buffer. You'll put a buffer amplifier in. Now, generally, the one that they use is one with a very low, very high impedance on the input side, in a very low on impedance on the output side, so that it can drive output transistors and so. And that's a general thing with any oscillating circuit. You'll have a buffer amplifier to insulate or isolate the oscillating circuit from the rest of the circuitry. Here they say you can use this particular circuit. You can use that for Morse code CW transmitter, but when it's keyed and there's no buffer, it will actually cause what they call chirp, change the frequency of the oscillator, which will make the transmission actually unusable. Here's one they do. The buffer amplifier is often a common collector emitter follower amplifier. Constant high impedance to the oscillator side while having a low output impedance that can supply sufficient current to drive the stages that follow. Then here's another type of oscillator. Now, what makes this one unique is the auto transformer or the center tap transformer, and that's how you identify it. They also call it a parallel tuned circuit. And once again, they feed the output back into the amplifier stage, which is these transistors over here. They feed it back into the tuned input of the amplifier. This principle is defined as the Hartley oscillator. So the fact that it feeds back is that this is how you would identify this circuit. Once again, they will go into a explanation here. I just want to point something out here is the variable frequency oscillator, VFO. Now that's achieved with this adjustable capacitor. I don't know whether we've actually seen this before in one of the circuits, but this is what a variable or adjustable capacitor looks like. In other words, you can change the frequency by adjusting this capacitor over here. And that is known as a variable frequency oscillator. Yeah, they say that in this circuit, the center tapped inductor, which is this transformer, is a bit like a step-up transformer, since an AC voltage applied between the center tap and the chassis connection at the bottom of the inductor generates a varying magnetic field, which uses a larger voltage to be generated between the hot side of the L1 and the chassis. Okay, that's when and then they say, okay, it's also called the auto transformer. So we must know that it's a center tap transformer or center tap inductor, and it's also known as an auto transformer. Then we get the voltage controlled oscillator, and that's now where that VariCap that Louis explained comes in. There, my mouse did that by itself. If part of the capacitance forming the tuned circuit in an oscillator is made up of capacitance from a varicap diode. The frequency of the oscillator can be varied by changing the reverse bias voltage applied to the varicap diode. This configuration is a voltage controlled oscillator. So that's also important. VCO, if they ask you what is a VCO, you must know that it's a voltage controlled oscillator. And this is a Colpitts circuit because it doesn't have the center tap transformer. And that's how we identify it. There's our varicap and the voltage controlled oscillator, so we can actually change the uh, frequency of the oscillation by applying a voltage to this varicap. And then once again, they go into a deep explanation over here to tell you exactly what each part does, but they don't ask that, so we don't need to know that. Then the next type of oscillating circuit is the crystal oscillator, and that's the most common one they use these days in radios to generate frequencies is from quartz crystals because they're very accurate and reliable. So when you apply a voltage across the quartz crystal, it actually changes the shape slightly of that crystal. And then when you remove the voltage, it will return to its original shape, but then it generates a voltage. So it's almost like a inductor, but this is just a crystal. So they use them in watches and wherever you need very accurate timing, you'll have a crystal. Um, and you get, they call it series cut and parallel cut crystals. We don't need to know the difference. We don't actually build the circuits. Here you can see they've got the crystal over there. Um, that's the crystal. I can't get to the word that I need now to um, to describe what that is. But this is the crystal. And then what I have here is a variable capacitor. Now, you can change the frequency, but not by much. This capacitor that they have here is almost to do the fine tuning. In other words, if you've got a 12 megahertz crystal, you won't be able to make it oscillate at 13 megahertz. You would connect it and it might oscillate at 12.001, and you want it exactly at 12, so you can trim it or pull it with that capacitor so that it's 100% within spec. Once again, they're going to go into a explanation here to explain what each and every part of the circuit does. We don't need to know that. We must just know that it exists. And we need to know how to identify the crystal oscillator. Well, if you see the crystal in the circuit, then it gives itself away. It's a crystal oscillator. If you see that center tap one, you know which one that is. And then the other one with neither one of the two would be the Colpitts oscillator. Okay, then we go through the summary quickly over here. Oscillators are circuits that generate AC signals. Yeah, we agree with that. We've actually seen that. Oscillators consist of an amplifier with positive feedback through the phase shift network. Yes, we know that. The phase shift network usually also serves as the band pass filter. That's correct. We also read that. An oscillator will oscillate at any frequency and amplitude where the Barkhausen criteria for oscillation are met. And that would be, here they use the word unity. I said if it's 0 dBs or the gain is 1, that means that it's unity. The loop gain is unity, and the sum of the phase shift around the feedback loop is 0 or a multiple of 360 degrees. So it must be 100% in phase. The output of an oscillator should be buffered to prevent the frequency of the oscillator from changing as the load on the oscillator varies. Like I said, you put a buffer amplifier in so that the oscillator circuit is isolated or insulated from the rest of the circuit so that it cannot put a load or change the frequency or the desired frequency. There are several different oscillator circuits, including the Colpitts, Hartley, and Clapp oscillators, which differ in precise arrangement of the tank circuit. Now, the tank circuit can also be, where did I see that? The tank circuit. Sorry, let me just get that. I don't want to make a mistake, so I'm just going to double check that description. Okay, that's the parallel oscillating circuit is the tank circuit. An oscillator that allows the frequency to be varied is called a variable frequency oscillator, a VFO. If the frequency is varied by applying a control voltage, it is a voltage controlled oscillator, VCO. Quartz crystals exhibit piezoelectric effect. That's where it changes the shape, and it changes shape, and then when you release the voltage, it changes back. They can be used to control the frequency of an oscillator. Crystal controlled oscillators exhibit excellent frequency stability with very little drift. However, they are essentially fixed frequency oscillators. Although the frequency can be pulled, that's now with that little capacitor, variable capacitor, slightly using a variable capacitor, the tuning range is not nearly as wide for oscillators using ordinary tuned circuits. Crystal oscillators that allow the frequency to be varied are called variable crystal oscillators, abbreviated as VXOs. Right, then we get to the questions. Right, the names Clapp, Colpitts, and Hartley refers to
oscillators.
That's right. Which of the following is not a basic requisite for oscillation?
Mhm. A? Probably correct. Also, another requirement.
Yeah,
Might be
so
wrong there.
it doesn't have to be the tuned circuit in both input and output stages. So you don't need Only the input needs to be a tuned circuit.
Okay. Rest
Right.
bodes the oscillator itself.
Yeah, so once the input is when you continuously put the input, if the input is a tuned circuit, then it will start to oscillate.
Okay.
The purpose of an amplifier in an oscillator. So in other words, you
D
get the signal coming
C.
out the amplifier. Okay, that is
Amplifies. So it increases something.
Use an increased, yeah.
Amplify means increase in a sense. Correct?
amplifying the signal from the. That is correct. Yes. Right. An oscillator varies in frequency as the loading on the following power amplifiers increase. In the redesigning the circuit, the use should be made of C,
An
the buffer
intermediate
stage.
buffer stage.
That's correct. Daar stamp ek een van my ander mics van die tafel af, my maar so 'n bietjie hang. Right, here's another question. The Colpitt's Coriolis beat
But
frequency. Yeah, that is obviously oscillators.
Acoustical oscillators.
Okay. Ekskuus tog?
Nee, ek sal by volgende en ek lees net hardop.
Well, okay. The characteristics of an oscillator which determines the operating frequency is
A? No.
B, the
Resonant
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 frequency.
frequency. Yeah.
That's right. Right. The oscillator configuration where the feedback is via the tapped inductor is
Can see.
D, hardly.
hardly. Ja, hardly is die enigste ene wat 'n center tap die auto transformer het. Dit is correct. Ja, that is correct. A Vericap diode might be used in an oscillator too. Now we must look for something that says control or change the voltage. Allow the frequency to be varied
Regular.
by a control voltage.
So
That's
voltage, Vericap. Yeah.
A.
Okay.
Yeah, A. That's right. At the frequency of oscillation, the loop gain of an oscillator is
B, exactly one.
exactly 1. Correct, yes. Which amplifier configuration can be used in an oscillator? Well, any one of them. Because if it's a tuned circuit, it will. Oh, so the answer is D. Any of the above. Right, hierdie was nou baie lekker. This was now very short. So what we'll do for the next crowd is we'll rather put this one with one of the others. Is there any questions?
Ek voel hierdie is straight up leerwerk.
Ja, dis baie net straight up leerwerk. Jy moet net weet hoe om daardie goeters te identifiseer en jy moet weet wat 'n Vericap doen. As jy dit weet en jy sien hom in die circuit of jy that's it.
Verstaan ek dit korrek wat omtrent die volgende hoofstuk frequency translation omtrent dieselfde situasie gaan wees. Daarna frequency modulation methods is Maar dis leerwerk, maar dis bietjie meer in 'n manier prakties as ek dit so kan stel.
Dis reg, ja. Kyk, hierdie is nou basies om te verstaan wat is 'n oscillator en dan in die volgende gedeelte gaan hulle nou frequency translation gaan hulle daai oscillators nou begin gebruik om actually werk te doen en vir jou te verduidelik. Soos hierso wat praat hulle van die frequency doubler.
Ja. En die transmitter leer jy ook sien ek gaan dit word al hierdie goed in mekaar ingebring. Alles by mekaar gebring.
Phase lock loop is elke digitale tuner wat jy kry het 'n phase lock loop. Dus dit is die go-to manier van stabiliteit in 'n transmitter en in 'n receiver sit is hierdie phase lock loop.
Okay.
En dis jy sal ook sien baie keer hierso gebruik hulle die afkorting PLL. En dan hierso is weer jou blokdiagram, jou vloeidiagram en
VCO is mos nie varicap, né? Oscillator.
ja, voltage controlled oscillator, dis reg, ja. En dan kan jy sien wat ons nou daaroor gepraat het. Hier's jou phase comparator of phase shifter, low pass filter, VCO, kom hy weer feedback terug. En dan so loop die besigheid in die ronde. En ja, hierdie is maar basies soos ek dink dit was Pieter wat gesê dis leerwerk. Daar's nie regtig jy weet wat dit is maar net dat jy morelesse idee het hoe jou radio werk en so voorts om te verstaan wat aangaan, weet hoe kom die stem wat jy hier by die mikrofoon inpraat in die aerial en dan weer aan die ander kant tot by die 'n ander radio in en dan word hy gedecode en so voorts en dan kan jy nou daarna luister en waar mense die meeste van hierdie kapasitors en goeters gebruik is as jy byvoorbeeld antennes wil instem of wat ook al. En ons het nou toe ons daarso sorry, ek wil net die opname stop want ek dink ons is nou